Bitcoin should be going up today. Fed Fed Perel said there's no plans of raising rates, so that's at least dovish.
You know,
I was just reading.
I saw an interesting interview with um ooh, who was it? I'm blanking on his name. It'll come to me. But he was talking about how the Fed, you know, it's a more of a new concept where the Fed basically announces what they're going to do before they actually do it. That is not how it's always been. It's relatively recent, in recent decades. I think the last chairman is the one who started doing that, and then obviously Powell kind of carried the torch and has made it even more of a thing. But
Yeah,
prior to that, it wasn't. They would just make the rate change and then announce it. They wouldn't say, "Oh, we're gonna do this later." You know what I mean?
yeah. It's taking the fun out. I remember because Greenspan was like it changed after him. I think Yellen was the first one that started it, and now Powell. But um, back because that's back when I was like day trading, and there was all like funny speculation on like oh, how thick does Greenspan's briefcase look, and like it was all sorts of crazy speculation to try and guess what the Fed was going to do because yeah, they weren't basically like forecasting and kind of like announcing what they weren't going to do beforehand. So it was super comical. There was all sorts of conspiracy theories based on whatever what he was wearing that day or so all of that nonsensical fun has disappeared. Now all we're left with is GameStop.
Yeah, I think it's crazy that we live in a time where the Fed has so much control over the markets and can just kind of say, yeah, by the way, next, we may lower rates, and that will make the market go up, or they could say the opposite and make the market go down. The Fed is not intended to be, the god of the markets. So I thought that interview was kind of interesting because it just kind of highlighted that this is a recent thing. It's not how things were always done, and it probably isn't a net positive thing for the world. And the whole goal of the Fed right now is obviously to control inflation, and rather than just doing what needs to be done, which is honestly to have high interest rates and leave them high, the Fed has to play this like game of like, oh, we have to stop raising rates because people are getting mad at us, and then we also have to talk about how we're gonna lower rates in the future so that people don't, so that people aren't mad at us. It's like instead of just doing what needs to be done and steering the car, they're kind of letting people talk in their ear, and then obviously kind of making these proclamations about what they're going to be doing next, instead of just just literally doing what needs to be done based on the current data that they've got.
Facts.
But yeah, Bitcoin not has not been doing too well lately. I mean, it's kind of hovering, but um, we obviously saw that big correction down to like 56K, which was pretty painful. Um, Kind of crazy though, if you think about it, 56K being painful. I still remember the good old days of
Right.
$100, couple $100 Bitcoin.
Well, I mean, yeah, Bitcoin's interesting. Obviously, I like to look at the charts and, based on that, there's plenty of scenarios where we could see Bitcoin down to 47K, hell, even into the 30s. And then there's also scenarios where we could see it, up near 80 in the near future, just in terms of like potential chart action.
Yeah, what makes you which way do you lean?
I mean, I said this last time I was on, I'm at a coin flip on Bitcoin right now because it's just like it's post halving. So, you know, basically over the next year, let's call it, we should be higher because it's pretty much happens every time. But we also had a big rally slash bull market into a halving kind of for the first time. And when you look at the chart, it's like things look toppy and or overstretched. Like when you look at like the weekly and the monthly time frames, like to me, it's just like begging to go down. Um, so I don't know. That's why I'm conflicted, which is why I'm kind of non-committal, just holding my bag, and I haven't like even put any kind of short hedge on, but I also haven't been buying more of late. Um, Hoping we just go up. But yeah, we'll see. Like last month was the first red monthly candle after what was it, like 7 straight green months. So we could certainly be green this month. Not to say that we haven't seen stuff like that happen before, but I feel like more often it's the opposite. You'll get, more than one red month. But that could be fine too. Maybe we'll have a suppressed spring and then a robust summer,
I would take it.
which would be fine. And that, yeah, I mean, the reality is we could pull back to like, let's say 47 and then rally from there. And then come January, still be like, sweet, post halving rally per the usual, Bitcoin's at whatever, 85K or whatever number, 100K. So basically both can happen, It's not like we can't pull back and still be higher at the end of the year, especially the way Bitcoin moves when it wants to go up. So, but ideally we just continue to consolidate here and then leg up again and get up into a new all-time high. Finally get up into maybe the 80s. I was waiting for that. The last bull market, 85 was my target, and we were one leg away. So I assume we're going to get there this time, if indeed this is a bull market we're still in.
Yeah, I feel like it's a really interesting market because you've got, just a really chaotic macro environment with interest rates and with just general negativity in the world. You've got obviously a lot of conflict globally. So, on a macro scale, it's just really interesting times. And then obviously coinciding that with the halvening, there's a lot of cyclical analysis that people have done. And one thing that I think is relatively a good model to at least follow to some degree is about the drawdowns that you experience in a bull market for Bitcoin. There's that data. It's like there's there's an average of like 20% drawdowns, an average of 6-10% drawdowns. I obviously don't have the data off the top of my head, but I generally think that that's a pretty decent framework to operate with. And we kind of just had I think we had about a 20% drawdown, right? From recent highs, roughly 20%.
Yeah, I feel like it was something like that.
Yeah. So definitely that's kind of what I'm keeping my eyes on, is the global environment and how it's kind of shaping up against the lens of the halvening. I think generally the next 12 months are going to be overall bullish, but that doesn't mean we won't see, a couple big drawdowns along the way. So just being kind of aware of that and making proper plans around it. Eric, how do you feel about the current state of the markets?
It's pretty weird because on the one hand, you have people who I think they know what they're talking about, saying that, yes, we are still on the same track that we were a few months ago about getting to $100,000 Bitcoin in June. And then there's other people who are saying, oh, this is not a super cycle like everyone was saying. The cycle is going to be so much shorter and more explosive this time. And some other people are saying that we're already that we already hit the peak of the cycle, and they are calling that meme coins, which are the riskier assets in the crypto space. Like, for people who don't know, usually the cycle goes from less risk and less reward kind of assets, and they keep rotating to riskier assets, and then it's meme coins and NFTs, the ones that pump at the end. And since it seems like this cycle skipped all of the mid cap and the more trustworthy assets, and it just skipped all the way to memes. And yesterday, GME, the GameStop stock, went up. I think it went up like 120%, and it opened today at 175% pump in less than 24 hours. And then people were saying, "Oh, this is the top. This is the top signal. We're so doomed." And they were doom posting all morning. So I honestly have no idea. I just wish that we're still in for a bull market. Otherwise, I'm gonna be so wrecked. I'm full in the markets right now, so hopefully it's not the top.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not ready. Not ready for this to be the top. One more leg. I just like 2024. It's supposed to be a bull market. Make it true.
Well, do you really
It
think
looks
it's only
like
one more leg? I mean, it doesn't really, kind of like what Eric was saying too, like a lot of the mid caps have been skipped over and it doesn't really feel like it hasn't really felt like a bull market. Yeah, Bitcoin has gone up, obviously a really good amount from like the 18K lows after, the whole FTX implosion. Bitcoin's done pretty well in that regard. And we obviously reached all-time highs again. But the altcoin market hasn't really seen, a huge bounce back. Even looking at Ethereum, I mean, it's done well, but it hasn't been like a full-blown bull market yet.
yeah,
Yeah,
it
and I
hasn't
mean,
felt like it.
yeah, 100%. And the thing is that only Bitcoin has broken the previous all-time high. Like not even Solana, not even Ethereum, no coin except of Bitcoin has actually broken the all-time high. So I don't know. I have my eyes on November, December, and we'll see what happens after that. But I don't know if I'm staying in the markets in 2025, to be completely honest. I mean, of course, it depends on how we are behaving, but I do think that it's going to be a faster bull market this time.
That would be preferred. And yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm not going to be in the markets in 2025, but like my goal, like I have targets, I have plans for my crypto portfolio relative to prior bull markets. Prior bull markets, I kind of rode the wave and then really didn't have any kind of plan to lock any of that in or whatever it is, and rode it all the way back down. Right? I've done it twice now. I'm not going to do it a third time. Which is funny because I think there's probably a lot of people that think like that, which may impact the way this quote unquote bull market plays out. Because I think the frenzy level might not be as high as it was in prior bull markets in terms of people like FOMOing like crazy and blah blah blah. But I could be wrong because when things are just skyrocketing, people cave to the FOMO. Um, but yeah, I um I don't know that I'm like a huge net seller, but I'm definitely planning to um leverage my crypto. So, like I'll probably collateralize a good amount of Bitcoin, assuming that, we do have this bull market and Bitcoin gets up to 8,500, whatever it is. At that point, I'll probably start collateralizing some of it. So I actually quote unquote cash out without cashing out, instead of just holding it, straight speculation at the end of the day. Um, I've been in crypto a long time and feel like at some point you need to feel a net benefit from it financially, and I'm yet to really experience that. So that's why I'm looking to lock in gains, so to speak. And I think collateralizing is a better idea because I look at it this way: I can either sell it, right, or I can borrow against it. And if I borrow against it, yeah, worst case is Bitcoin dumps, I get liquidated. Okay, that's fine. But at the same time, I get to hold that Bitcoin and it potentially continues to go up in value instead of selling it. So that's something I'm looking at in terms of quote unquote cashing out in 2025. I'm probably going to collateralize more so than I'm going to sell. Um, and just, yeah, tactics like that. Who knows? Maybe even pool assets or whatever and take the yield that's earned.
Yeah, I mean, I think having a plan for the market is extremely important. Obviously the plan's going to look a lot different for everybody depending on what their goals are, what their portfolio looks like and, all the things related to that. But um, I just started reading Tony Robbins' new book. Um, I think it's called, The Holy Grail Portfolio or something like that. But this is his third book on finance that he's written. And he in this book, he really just talks about how he really talks about diversification, but not in the kind of more traditional sense of diversification. He talks about actually like looking across different investment classes altogether. Like not just say, hey, have a stock portfolio of 20 different stocks that, are in different industries. He's actually talking about like, having alternative investments be a part of your portfolio, real estate, and he even has purchased equity in like sports teams to diversify, his overall, kind of financial well-being. So I think having some kind of goal for yourself in this market is really important, especially when it comes to crypto, because it does move really fast. And by the time you kind of realize what's happening in the market, if your plan's not already in place, you're already too late. So it's definitely important to have some kind of goal. And I'm obviously a big proponent of dollar cost averaging and collateralizing. I actually have the reverse strategy of you, Mitch. I collateralize in the bear market and uh and dollar cost average out in the bull market. Because if you collateralize in the bull market, obviously the price is going to come down at some point. But collateralizing in the bear market means that you basically are just using all your income to say buy up Bitcoin, put it in a vault, collateralize it, and then use the borrowed capital to pay bills and do everything you need to do. And then obviously capitalize when the bull market comes, and then pay down the debt, and obviously close out the vault. So it's every strategy has stipulations to it, and ultimately, I think just having a strategy is better than no strategy at all, which is what probably 95% of people do when it comes to crypto.
I mean, I think 95% of people do that when it comes to investing, period. And yeah, I mean, as far as your plan, like in terms of how to, collateralizing in the bear market and everything, totally makes sense. And I mean, I actually, I did some of that when you introduced me to, the DeFi sites that offered it. I didn't even, know some of them existed back then. So I did collateralize some Bitcoin. Man, time flies. It's probably over a year ago because it was almost like a forced collateralization in that I needed some liquidity because I was super illiquid between like real estate stuff going on and whatever. And yeah, that's been nice because Bitcoin was 30K, I think, when I collateralized. Um, so, you know, my liquidation price, I think originally I started at like 7K or 8K, and then I borrowed a little bit more when we got into 40s, and now my liquidation price is 15K. So, you know, I, and granted, it wasn't a huge borrow, but it was just like at this point, odds are I'm never going to get liquidated because, like you said, you kind of do it in a bear market and then Bitcoin appreciates. And so, and now it's so easy to essentially close out that loan if I wanted to because the amount of Bitcoin it costs is much smaller. It's basically half. So yeah, it's definitely one of the big benefits of doing that when things are down. So yeah, each serve their purpose.
Yeah.
But end of the day, it's just like, also one thing, but Bitcoin, I think's the one main coin where I'm always going to look at how do I not sell this, right? How can I benefit from it but not sell it? Because 21 million coins, right? And who knows how liquid or illiquid Bitcoin will become. Um, but something that has that, set scarcity on it, I want to be able to hold as much as I can, because I just don't see how over time price doesn't end up higher, after all the ups and downs, as opposed to a lot of, there's a lot of alts that, obviously don't have that same dynamic.
And one of the biggest narratives that is happening right now is that if you take into account that in 2021, 2022, there was only a few big exchanges, there was no DeFi, and the few platforms that were around, like Uniswap, there weren't a lot of platforms like this. Right now, we have probably 100 times the amount of tokens in the market. I think some of the bigger blockchains are putting out like 25,000 meme coins out every single day. Uh, there are real world assets and AI-based projects coming out every day, and all of them have the same narrative, and all of them are competing for the same attention and for the same amount of money. And a lot of people are just saying, yeah, the bull market will come. There will be more money here. We will reach $5 trillion total market cap, but tokens will no longer go 100x, 200x, because the attention is so diluted, and the money is funneling towards so many projects and so many platforms, and every DeFi platform is trying to extract value from investors. So there's this thesis saying that if you hit a 20x or a 30x, be happy with it and take profits, because you're not going to hit 100. So I have no idea what's going to happen, but this is definitely going to be different than all the other bull markets.
It's funny because I 100% agree with that. And then at the same time, I get data thrown in my face that kind of like tells me, all right, well, I guess shit still is crazy, because I saw apparently there was a couple of wallets that bought Trump coin back in like October, November of last year. And that coin has like, I don't forget what it was. It's like 1000x more than that or something, especially because like Trump like mentioned something about being pro crypto recently. And like some dude basically like turned something like 6K into like 5 million. And I'm just like, all right, I need to fucking pay attention to crypto more and start placing some bets, because like it's a lotto ticket, but your odds are way better than the actual like real lotto. Like I got better odds of placing bets on random alt meme coins than I do going and playing like Powerball.
True.
So it's right. So I'm like, all right, as much as I want to say, oh, doesn't feel like a bull market. Well, some bull market type stuff is still happening, because you're getting some meme coins here and there. But yeah, like you said, for the most part, though, you're seeing 20x's and things like that. But still, somehow, there's random meme coins here and there that are just absolutely mooning. Um, I'm at the point where I need to like just hire a VA to just like research meme coins for me. They're like, let me know. Like, here's your parameters. It's got to be outside like the top 1,000 market cap. And if like filter number one, it's got to have some kind of meme that can get popular based on someone tweeting about it.
Well, that's kind of the whole idea, or
But
at least part of the idea that originated with Leo Finance, which is obviously now turned into InLeo, a bigger brand, that's about more than just finance and crypto. Now we've got threads, and obviously all the different communities. And I think about 2 weeks ago, we made an update to the publishing UI where now it doesn't default to the Leo Finance community. You can set whatever community you want when you post from the InLeo UI.
oh, so that was on purpose? Okay, because I'm
Yeah,
like, crap, I have to add the Leo Fine. like the Leo Finance tag now manually.
Yeah, exactly. That was on purpose because now when you make a blog post, you can make it about anything. You can make it about gardening and then choose the gardening community. It doesn't have to be
That makes
so
sense.
yeah, and you know to take a step back and give it like a 30,000 foot view, we've made a big change with the platform. And now InLeo is about, you know, anything, you know, the broad-based banner or umbrella you can post anything on InLeo, whether it's threads or blog posts. um, but then if you do want to post about crypto and finance, the Leo finance community still exists as a community on Hive and a community on the InLeo platform, you know, as kind of a subset underneath InLeo. So, you know, it's obviously going to take us a lot of branding work because we've spent, you know, 4 years building the brand of Leo Finance. So it's going to take us some time to really explain to people that, you know, Leo Finance still exists as a community, but InLeo is now the platform that obviously owns that community and then also allows you to post to any other community or any other topic underneath the InLeo platform. So, you know, we've been kind of working to change that branding. But my point is to connect it to what you were talking about is that, you know, our ability as a community to find meme coins and find good things in the crypto space that we can share, you know, share the alpha and invest in and, you know, talk about and do a lot of research. That's still one of the greatest powers of this community is that we can kind of coordinate and organize around different ideas. I definitely would love to see more of that. We used to have something called Leo Alpha, the Leo Alpha community and hashtag. And I would love to see that make a comeback because I'm always researching, you know, different ideas, different investment ideas and projects to get involved with. And that's actually how, you know, Rune kind of came about and came to be the biggest position in my portfolio was that, you know, JK and Shanghai-preneur and Neil McSpadden, they started talking about Rune, and then I started paying a lot of attention to it. I you know, got really deeply interested in the whole cross-chain movement. And obviously I still firmly believe that cross-chain decentralized exchanges are going to be, you know, the future of you know, crypto trading. And I think that the volume is going to start moving from centralized exchanges to these dexes. You know, and now you've got Maya and we've built LeoDex to be a key piece of technology in that space as well. So, you know, that progression kind of happened and it was like the seedling of, you know, people like Shanghai-preneur and JK and Neil sharing something that they believed was going to be a big thing in the future and a good investment on the platform. So it is, you know, this is the place to share that kind of stuff and talk about ideas and spread those ideas. So if you ever come across something and you think it's interesting, just make a thread and post about it. And I know that, you know, like another good recent example was Nifty and Eric, who were talking about cacao when it was like 10 cents. And, you know, we all had the opportunity to talk with them and learn more about it and potentially invest. And now cacao is trading over $1. So, you know, there's been a lot of really good examples in our community of things that people have found and, you know, have turned into 10x investments. I started buying Rune at like 40 cents. And then I ended up selling a very good amount of it when it was over $10 in the last bull market. And now it's still at 5. And I'm actually a buyer at $5, which is crazy compared to my original buy price. But a lot of good alpha has been shared on the platform, and I think will continue to get shared. So if you ever share alpha, I think we should coordinate around like the hashtag Leo Alpha hashtag. Right now I'm looking at some Splinterlands assets, so I might share some alpha that I found regarding those.
Lanterlands.
Yep.
Interesting.
Speaking of Splinterlands, we integrated SPS and DEC. So we obviously had that space last week and we talked about it, but we integrated SPS and DEC into the LeoDex UI. And
Yep.
that's been going pretty well so far. I definitely want to see more volume. You know, LeoDex has only done about $37,000, I think, in volume so far. So I definitely want to see more volume on LeoDex, but we've made some really significant progress on the aggregator. So if you haven't tried it at all or haven't tried it in the last week, I highly recommend trying it or at least check out. I just posted a couple videos video walkthroughs of me using the aggregator for SPS and Hive swaps. And we made some really big changes to it, and it's the process is much smoother. The UI for it like really just walks you through each step. It looks great. I'll grab a screenshot and share it for you guys.
Nice.
But you know, the problem that we're
Um,
aiming to solve with LeoDex is that right now 100% of Hive trading volume is happening on centralized exchanges. It's like there's about 30 to 80 million dollars per month that's traded on centralized exchanges. Over 90% of that is just on Binance alone. And this is a you know, existential risk for Hive. And I've put out some tweets talking about this and threads talking about it. But you know, Hive is one of the most decentralized blockchains in the world, but our trading volume and our exchange listings are very centralized. So I think, you know, one of the best ways to grow Hive and build Hive, you know, stronger for the future is to move it to decentralized exchanges and really proliferate on those exchanges. So, you know, what we've built with LeoDex and the Hive aggregator, the Hive aggregation technology that we've built is really incredible. You know, at bringing Hive and Hive tokens to decentralized exchange rails. Maya protocol is currently working on Thorchain aggregation and streaming swaps. What's going to happen when Thorchain aggregation goes live is going to be really incredible. It opens us up to about 6,500 new assets because that's everything that you can trade on Thorchain and Thorchain's long tail gets immediately tradable with everything on Maya, which means that our Hive aggregator will actually aggregate into Thorchain as well. So the opening up of assets and of liquidity, even more importantly, when Maya integrates the aggregator is going to be really huge in terms of the aggregator that we've built. Those two aggregators together will really play off of each other very nicely, in my opinion. And the magic of it is that it all happens on the back end. Like as a user, you just go to LeoDex, you enter the input, enter the output, click swap, and then it just walks you through the entire process. And you literally click like 3 or 4 confirmations, and then it's off to the races. So I'm really excited about the aggregator, and then streaming swaps. Obviously, if you look at what it did for Thorchain, within, you know, like 6 months of streaming swaps going live, they like 20x the volume on Thorchain in terms of trading volume. So I think that's going to happen for Maya, which is really bullish for Cacao, and it's really bullish for LeoDex, since obviously all that volume could be potential volume for LeoDex. And then it's also you know, bullish for Leo and what we've built with the Hive aggregator, just because of the potential for volume, you know, really exponentially increasing because of the way that streaming swaps work. So those kind of two critical pieces of infrastructure are coming to Maya very soon, and I think they're going to have a really positive impact on what we've built.
so speaking of Maya and LeoDex, Simple Game, I think, asked a good question that I'm curious about too. And he said, is ARB Leo listed on other Maya front ends? He's like, I know LeoDex is the goal, but it would be good if people on other front ends could discover Leo or Hive.
Yeah, Leo is on every. So the way that these protocols work is that Leo now has a Leo cacao pool, so it is officially listed on Maya. So on any Maya protocol interface where you can trade Maya assets, you can also trade Leo. So actually, one of the most recent integrations for Maya was ThorSwap. So ThorSwap has integrated Maya for trading, and if you go to ThorSwap, you can actually buy and sell Leo now on ThorSwap, which is actually really cool to see because I've been a user of ThorSwap for several years now. So it's really cool to see that Leo has kind of made it into all these different exchanges, these major decentralized exchange interfaces. So and then when that Thorchain aggregator goes live for Maya, it's just going to get even more exposure. And we kind of talked about this last AMA with Nifty and Eric. But you know, the positioning that we've managed to build here is really important because Now we basically, by having LeoDex and by having Leo on Maya, we now benefit from everything that the Maya team does, everything that the Thorchain team does, everything that the Chain Flip team does. This cross-chain decentralized exchange ecosystem is still pretty nascent. Thorchain has been around for about 3 years now, but it's still relatively new. And all these other protocols are also relatively new. Maya's only about a year old, and the growth in that sector is really just starting to take off, and I think it's going to just keep exponentially increasing. But what's really important is that we've now positioned Leo and LeoDex in the center of it all. So as those teams continue to do good work, and if you see what those teams are doing behind the scenes, it would blow your mind. We benefit from it just by proxy.
Yeah, and I think the coolest part of this is that no matter who comes up with a new platform, our Leo, or well, Leo on Arbitrum is already engraved on Maya. So anyone who puts out any platform, it's not like we have to get in touch with them and tell them what Leo is about and to list the pool and whatever. No, it's already there. And the moment that they launch, Leo will be there. So there's nothing we need to do in order to show Leo in other platforms.
Yep, we're just immediately available on all those platforms. We didn't have to talk to the ThorSwap team and say, hey, can you add Leo to your UI? Instead, they just added Maya protocol, and Leo gets Basket integrated with that. Vic Van asked, can HBD get integrated on LeoDex in the Sooniverse? Yeah, so I'll share a link to the roadmap for LeoDex. But if you look at the roadmap, we're currently in phase 2 of that 3-phase roadmap for the LeoDex launch. So in phase 2, which is supposed to go until the end of May, so that we're about halfway through it, we have add wallet options, XDeFi and MetaMask. So XDeFi is already added. MetaMask is getting added as we speak. And then the second piece to that is add more assets to the Hive aggregator. So HBD, SPS, and DEC are on that list. Obviously, SPS and DEC got listed last week. And then the third piece of it is to add Savers, which is a Maya protocol feature. So HBD is coming very soon. If we're able to keep to our roadmap, which I think we will be, HBD will be live before the end of the month on LeoDex. But that being said, I'm actually really surprised at the lack of volume for Hive, SPS, and DEC on LeoDex. So I would definitely like to see more volume for those assets, because we can integrate as many Hive assets as we want. But until we start getting some initial flywheel volume, the efficiency of swaps is not going to get better. So we really need to start getting some early volume. And my kind of request, and it actually is something that will benefit you at the end of the day anyways, is that and this is kind of how I'm marketing it as well. If you're planning to buy or sell Hive, SPS, DEC, and soon HBD on any centralized exchange, my ask to you or challenge to you is to quote that swap, quote that trade on LeoDex before you go to the centralized exchange and see if you can get a better price. So like, for example, if you're planning to sell, let's just say you've got some blogging rewards or whatever, you're planning to sell 250 Hive on a centralized exchange like Binance. You obviously can go to Binance's order book and look at how much USDT you'll get for that 250 Hive sell. You should open another window, go to LeoDex, and quote out the same 250 Hive sell and see if you get a better price on LeoDex compared to Binance. So that is my challenge to you, that every time you go to do a swap like that, or a trade, go to LeoDex in another window and just quote those together and see which one gives you the best price. Because I've started doing that, and I've realized that at least 20% of the time, I would say, I'm getting a better price for the Hive on LeoDex than I am on something like Binance. So it's it's something that will benefit you at the end of the day, and it also benefits Leo. It benefits LeoDex. It benefits Hive by pushing that trading volume on chain. So I've been putting out tweets and threads talking about that too. We've been talking, like, for InLeo, the kind of unofficial tagline is put it on chain. So when it comes to like making content on X, you should also put it on chain, put it on InLeo, which puts it on the Hive blockchain. And I think kind of a cool tagline for LeoDex is put your trading volume on chain as well. When you move Hive to a centralized exchange like Binance, you're moving it to their centralized ledger. And that trading volume is not happening on chain. It's happening all in a centralized kind of back end trading ledger. But when you trade on LeoDex, it's all happening on chain. You can actually literally follow the swap happening across all the different blockchains. So you're moving your volume back to the blockchain and back to self-custody. So that is my challenge to you. At the very least, before you go to a centralized exchange to trade, quote the swap on LeoDex and compare the two quotes and pick whichever one gives you the best price. And I guarantee you that, 1 out of 5 times at least, you're going to get a better price on LeoDex than you will on a centralized exchange.
Yep, that is true. I've been getting better prices for cacao and for Rune over the past week. One thing that I do think that we have to mention, Kyle, is that we need more liquidity on the Leo cacao pool. So I don't know, maybe guys listening in the audience, the rewards that the pool has are a little bit better than what the what's the word, than the curation rewards we have on Leo. So if you want to provide liquidity, you are not having an opportunity cost by providing liquidity instead of powering up your Leo. I mean, it's your decision, but there are a lot of rewards there.
Yeah, the current APR on the Leo cacao pool is 149%. And as of right now, that is completely from trading fees. So it has nothing to do with any like inflationary rewards added to the pool. There's literally no extra rewards in the pool right now except for trading fees, and it's 149% APR. I'll share a screenshot to Maya scan. So as of right now, I think I'm like 85% of the liquidity in the pool. And there's like, a few $1,000s from other users. So we still, people have not really moved any liquidity into that pool. And if you look at the value capture, which again is on those LeoDex docs, I'll share a link to those too. But if you look at the value capture of how this can impact Leo, if we start actually getting, aggregated volume from Hive onto LeoDex. So like I said, we're at like $37,000 in volume so far on LeoDex, which is a lot lower than I expected us to be. If we start to actually get some volume, the value capture that the Leo token has from that is really incredible. So if you have any amount of Leo, I would highly recommend considering the Leo cacao pool. You can literally enter it with like $10. Like the fees are really low for Leo and for cacao. So you can just really easily move a couple bucks over and deploy it into the pool. And there's 1,700 of us, monthly active users on InLeo. And if we all just like chip in a little bit, on a regular basis, this pool is at $100,000 right now. There's no reason why we can't see that grow to 200,000, 300,000, and eventually $1 million. And then every dollar of trading volume on LeoDex and the Hive aggregator ultimately deploy liquidity into the pool permanently as well. So it's like, we keep talking about flywheel, but if you can get that initial flywheel started, that volume and that liquidity will really start to pick up. So that is definitely something I want to see. An idea that I'm playing around with right now is moving the WLeo geyser over to the Leo cacao pool. So it's something that we're considering. I put up a poll just kind of unofficially to see, kind of test the waters of how people felt about that. The cool thing is if we end up moving the Leo Cacao, the W Leo rewards to Leo Cacao, the geyser will actually be paid autonomously into the pool itself. So that will be cool because then on Maya Scan and on any other Maya interface, it actually will add it to the APR that they display automatically. Um, so to the external world, we'll actually have a much better APR than a lot of the other pools. We already kind of do because the trading volume relative to the liquidity is really high. But this will just add even more fuel to the fire. And potential Maya users will look at the Leo Cacao pool and will see it as a good pool for them to enter as well. So it's an idea I'm playing with, and it obviously would take a technical burden off of the team in terms of the WLEO geyser, which is kind of a pain in the ass in a lot of different ways. This would just completely automate it because it would be like one send transaction. Basically, what would happen is the Leo that gets paid to the WLEO pool account would just get automatically sent to the Leo Cacao pool, and then it's automatically balanced into everyone's position, and it gets auto compounded. So it actually would have a lot of positive impacts. Like another positive impact would be that it gets auto pooled into the pool. So it actually adds to the liquidity. And the only way it gets removed from the pool is if a user then leaves the pool and takes the rewards with them when they leave. So, which is obviously totally fine if that happens too. But I think the key part of that is that the majority of people earning in the Leo Cacao pool are going to stay in the Leo Cacao pool. So that means that the liquidity will also just kind of be up and to the right. iJet said, can we connect to LeoDex using our Hive username? It seems key store file is required now. So yes, once you click the Hive logo when you're connecting a wallet, you select the Hive network icon, you enter your Hive username, and then it connects with Hive keychain. That being said, you also have to connect with either Keystore or XDeFi, and probably in the next week we'll also have MetaMask. So you have to use a Web3 wallet and your Hive keychain wallet. You can't just use Hive keychain. So you have to have both connected at the same time. More T, I just shared a screenshot of the actual APR on my scan. It shows it as 149% right now. And it changes dynamically based on trading volume.
Morty is asking, well, I think it's going to be pretty soon, right? When HBD on LeoDex?
Yeah, I just mentioned on the roadmap, we have it for May. So most likely by the end of May.
Nice.
But I
Nice.
also do really want to see some volume on Hive, SPS, and DEC. So, I'm not saying I'm going to hold the HBD listing hostage, but I'd like to see some volume.
Well, I can't help you because Cat doesn't really play with SPS and DEC, but he does play with HBD and is getting to the point where he's going to start taking his monthly interest. So if I can sell that on LeoDex, you'll have a monthly customer.
Love to hear it. There's a lot of customers like that. I kind of have this idea, and this will be Eric's first time hearing it, but there's a guy, I think his name is Lazy Panda. He's got the most HBD in savings on the Hive blockchain. I think he's got like 2 million HBD in savings. And it would be awesome to find a way to reach that guy and say, well, if you ever do start selling your monthly HBD interest, which I think is at quick math times 3, I think about $35,000 a month that he's earning in HBD interest. So if you ever if your name is Lazy Panda, you're earning 35,000 HBD a month, and you consider selling that in the next month, or by the end of the month, you'll be able to sell that on LeoDex, and actually benefit the Hive ecosystem by doing so.
Wow. You could always, and honestly, it's worked because I've, looked at people's proposals because of it. You can always do the send that account whatever it is, 0.01 Hive, and in the memo, hey,
Have you used
swap your
LeoDex?
HBD on LeoDex.
Yeah. Well, that's a good marketing idea for Eric and team as well. Here's a second ball to drop on Eric live. We can start sending memos to people who are regular SPS and DEC traders on Hive Engine. I'm sure we could pull that SQL data, and we could send memos to them and talk about LeoDex. Drop them the link and say, hey, and like that PSA I just gave, because I'm sure Sunseeker is also watching the recording of this, and we'll make a YouTube short about SPS and DEC trading and what I just mentioned about quoting your swap on LeoDex in addition to the centralized exchanges, and then we can send them a link to that via memo. So there's another idea.
Yeah, that actually sounds pretty good.
Yeah, because there are whales trade. I mean, I've been tracking this for a while. There are whales that trade SPS and DEC to the tune of millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars per month on Hive Engine. So a lot of potential volume there for LeoDex to start capturing. I think it's just a lack of awareness.
I 100% agree. It's a lack of awareness. And I mean, it just went live. Is there anything in the Splinterlands community as in regard to like whatever podcast AMAs or whatever that they do that you can kind of get on and announce / spread the word?
Um, Eric would probably know better than me. Idiosyncratic is in the Threadcast, also is tapped into the Splinterlands community. We did a space with them on Friday with Yaba Matt.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
but
Okay.
I mean, there
Yeah,
are like Splinterlands
perfect.
town halls and various Splinterlands players who do like live streams and whatnot. So, third marketing idea live. We could sponsor some Splinterlands players who stream and have LeoDex be an official sponsor.
Yes,
I like
and
it.
I actually already have some names, not because of this, but because of a few months ago, we were looking into doing more spaces for Splinterlands, like just helping them, Nifty and I helping them set up their own space, like weekly stuff, speaking about Splinterlands, blah, blah, blah. And then they gave us a few names from community members who live stream or have spaces. So that's going to be an easy one. Well, I hope so. So yes, that's a great idea to sponsor existing shows, podcasts, live streams with LeoDex. Yes.
Fourth idea, sponsor Splinterlands tournaments. And I know you brought that up to me a long time ago for Leo Finance back in the day, when we were just called Leo Finance and we were trying to market to the broader community. Now that we've got LeoDex with the SPS and DEC listing, we could be sponsoring some Splinterlands tournaments and getting the LeoDex name out there.
Yeah, just to get the name there so they know we exist, one, and they know what we are.
Right.
So that whenever they decide to sell something, whatever that is, or buy something, they do it through LeoDex and not through other because there's the BSC token and whatnot. So yeah, we are the best option. Native SPS for native Bitcoin. Let's go.
Another idea from Ahmad Mangas. He said you can sponsor Splinterlands cards. I actually didn't know you could do that. Apparently there's like promo cards and we could make like a LeoDex trader card of some kind. Maybe like a lion. I can see a picture of like a lion that's like a merchant.
Yeah, I like that.
So based on what we are just talking about, I think it actually leads into kind of a basic fundamental question. Because I don't think everyone has clarity on assets that can be traded on LeoDex. So yeah, there's a lot of them, but it's not like every single chain you can essentially trade on LeoDex. So that's basically I don't know, restricted for lack of a better word by what's available in Maya in like the Maya ecosystem. So what can't people essentially like what native coins can't people trade into, or if it's easy to do what they can,
Right.
but either
All
or.
right. Well, what they can trade into, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a few different ERC20s like USDT, USDC, Dash, um, Cacao, obviously, Rune. There's a few different Arbitrum tokens, like GLD is the Maya. Uh, that's the Maya Scan team's token, right? GLD, Pepe on Arbitrum, USK on the Kuji network, Kuji, um, wrapped Bitcoin on Arbitrum.
Okay.
I think
So
that pretty much covers it.
network wise, basically native Bitcoin, like you said, some ERC20, sounds like a lot of Arbitrum, nothing BEP20, nothing like sounds like
Yeah,
no Binance.
there's no BEP20, but this is where that so yeah, and just to go by networks, and you can also check on this too if you click Connect Wallet, it says select networks, and you can just see all the networks that are available.
True. Easy button.
Yeah. So Bitcoin, Dash, Ethereum, Kuji, Maya, and Thorchain, and then we've got Hive. We bring Hive to the table. Obviously, other interfaces can't
Nice.
do that. So those are the networks. What is that? 7 networks that are available. And then kind of the magic that happens when Maya integrates the Thorchain aggregator that they're building, which I hear is only a few weeks away. Any network on Thorchain immediately becomes available on LeoDex. So that is going to be, what does Thorchain have that Maya doesn't? Bet20. What else does Thorchain have? I'm blanking. I can check real quick. Bet20, Avalanche, Dogecoin, Polkadot, I think Polkadot, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Cosmos, and BNB Bet2. So all of those will get added when the Thorchain aggregator comes to Maya. But and then so that's one piece is like the extra networks. And then the second piece to that is the liquidity. So like right now, if you want to go into, say, USDC on Ethereum, the USDC pool on Maya, the USDC Ethereum pool on Maya has $540,000 in liquidity. The USDC pool on Thorchain, the Ethereum USDC, has $21 million. So that $21 million now gets brought over as liquidity for LeoDex, essentially, because LeoDex has just tapped into it via the aggregator rails. So, and then like the Bitcoin, so like Bitcoin on Maya has $18 million in liquidity. Bitcoin on Thorchain has $122 million. So this aggregator is going to be a very big deal for the entire Maya ecosystem, but also for LeoDex and also for the Hive aggregator that we built. And I see Taskmaster just add 2,500 Leo and the equivalent cacao to the pool. So love to see it. If more people follow his lead, and we just even that's what I was kind of getting at too. Like even if you add, 200 Leo, like small amounts start to add up quickly. If a lot of us are doing it, so growing that liquidity is extremely important for us.
Yep.
Nifty said he's
Got
also
time to go
bullish
to
on the
liquidity.
Kujira V2, which I know nothing about, but he's bullish.
I think he's saying that's making him bullish on Rune, right?
Maybe. I don't know what Kujira V2 is. Obviously, it's related to Kujira, but not sure.
Because he said along with the Thorchain aggregator. So I'm assuming he's
True.
just referring to these things being bullish for Rune. But yeah, I'm not familiar with the Kajura either.
Uh, Mod Manga asked, is there a tutorial on how to convert liquid Leo to the Leo cacao pool? I did make a tutorial and I put it in the docs, so I'm gonna drop the link in the Threadcast right now. There you go. There's actually a couple tutorials now, probably about 10 in the LeoDex docs for all sorts of things, how to pool, how to swap. Nifty made some tutorials, and then I've been making some tutorials as well. So you can find them in the tutorials section of the docs.
Yes, Ahmad. Kujira in Japanese means whale. And
I actually didn't know that.
one of their,
It's funny.
yeah, one of their, I don't know, their catchy phrases is that everyone is a whale in Kuji. I saw someone, I don't remember who it was, who was asking about price action and about what will happen to the price of the Leo token if we get more volume and we get more adoption. These kind of questions, we will always get them. And it's okay for anyone to ask anything they want to.
Well, I think our space just died.
Did it?
Yeah.
It did. Well, that sucks.
Well, totally died.
What time is it?
I mean, it's been
It's
over
almost
an hour.
1:30. I don't know how long you guys, yeah, I don't know how
Yeah,
long you guys want to go.
I guess we're gonna be Eric, can you hear the Zoom? I don't know if you got your other headphones on.
Well, that was abrupt.
Yeah. All right, there you go. Yeah, I don't know why, but the space is dead and I can't reopen it. It just ended it.
Went over the time limit.
There shouldn't be one, but I don't know.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes there is. You never know. All right, well, full yeah, Nifty. The space got rugged. Um, I mean, we were probably kind of on the verge of closing out, but Eric, what were you talking about when it cut off?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say so like just to feel some like we were kind of running out of topics. It felt like so someone asked about the price of Leo in general, and I was gonna say that do not try to speculate and do not try like don't try to play games and just invest in what you think it's worthy, blah blah blah, like just general advice.
Yeah, you
Well,
gotta.
Oh, and we are live on Twitter.
Yeah, we're
YouTube's
still
still
live
working.
No,
on Twitter
we are
video.
yes, live on
YouTube
YouTube
is fine.
and Twitter. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I just shared the links
Oh,
in the
so glad I can
Threadcast.
take.
I don't know.
Whoever
Apparently
wanted.
enough people can still hear us.
Um,
Right. And I don't think I can find anything else in the space, but well, that broadcast, not the space. But yeah, everyone is asking what's been going on. We
what's been
are
going on with
live on
what?
YouTube. We are live on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm just like looking for questions. It looks like for the most part we're caught up.
Yeah, we were kind of reading
The rest
them
is really just
as we
comments.
went. I need to go and explore LeoDex. Yes, Lukiel. I think there's a lot of people that have not explored LeoDex yet. Obviously, that will change over time, but getting that initial volume that I keep talking about is really important. I went back and forth on a few threads with Taskmaster, talking about flywheel volume and why it matters. Every $1 that's traded on LeoDex through the Hive aggregator is essentially $3 worth of volume for Leo pools. And the reason for that is when you swap on the Hive aggregator, it's immediately $2 worth of volume. and then $1 is off balance in one of the pools. So then it has to get rebalanced by arbitrage. So you can basically 3x any volume that's traded on the aggregator in terms of like total Leo trading volume. So that's where things can start to get pretty large. Taskmaster said, any word on the focus of what bugs are being worked on the UI? Yeah, so we've got about 28 bugs right now that we've indexed. These are all the bugs that we've found. So there's nothing that isn't, there are no known bugs that aren't on this list, if that makes sense. It's kind of a tongue twister. But if you guys find any more bugs, obviously we'll add them to the list. But I think we're pretty well covered. I mean, I spent the entire last week, like really hammering in, looking for bugs on the UI, specifically trying to break things, and then added them to the list. And then I also scrolled the entire feedback feed, looking for bugs, and I added all of those. So, there's a couple different things in there, like article drafts. Sunseeker told me about that you